Right, welcome back to the channel, guys. This is Kuba Sylvester Challenge, and today I am bringing you 5 reasons why you are not getting in contest condition. I have seen a lot of people struggle with contest prep recently, and I have seen a lot of guys who have an amazing potential, unfortunately have very rough preps and fail to bring the package that I know that they are potentially capable of bringing. So with that in mind, I wanted to cover 5 reasons why you may not be getting the most out of your contest prep. The first one, and the main reason, is not giving yourself enough time. And this is something that I believe every single bodybuilder who especially is assisted should look into doing a longer prep. The main reason why natural athletes simply get in better condition is because natural athletes actually opt to do a minimum of 20, 22, 24, even 28 weeks contest preps. Taking their body weight down slowly over that time, having a small rate of loss, meaning that the smaller the rate of loss that you actually have, the better the performance retention. So you're able to actually stay stronger, but you also need a smaller calorie deficit, which means that you don't have to push quite as hard. Your cardio doesn't need to be as high. You don't need to eat as little food. And this simply means better recoverability, better training performance, and better muscle retention, which is the goal of your contest prep, right? You have all worked so hard during your off season. You've built so much muscle tissue. You deserve to keep it all, in my opinion. And I see it time and time again. People trying to rush the contest prep and not give themselves enough time to actually get in true contest condition, which then will bring me to the other points. However, first point I want to highlight is you have to give yourself enough time. If you are trying to do a short prep and you know that you have 40, 45 pounds to drop to get in true contest condition, and you're trying to do that in 16 weeks, the likelihood of you having time to actually feed up or you having time to get in true contest condition without backing off and managing fatigue is going to be very slim. And this brings me on to the next point, is fatigue management. A lot of people fail to understand that sometimes the answer doesn't mean doing more. If someone is already working hard enough and someone is already pushing hard, you will inevitably get to a point where you will need a deload, especially in a contest prep. A calorie deficit in itself is going to drive a degree of fatigue. That fatigue will build up over time as you lose body fat and as you get leaner. As you get leaner, you will get more fatigued. Alongside of that, your training will also drive fatigue. Now, point number 1, if you haven't given yourself enough time, you won't get the time to give yourself a diet break or a deload. Now, I have just recently completed a 21-week contest prep, starting from already a lean start point. And during that time, I actually had 3 weeks where I actually took a diet break. And alongside of that, that was my deload week, where I actually rested and had lower volume training sessions, giving myself time to drop the fatigue and get my body fresh and ready to return back to fat loss and return back into a deficit with a fresh physique, both physically and mentally, which is huge for a successful prep. In order for your body to continue to respond, you need to manage fatigue effectively through deloads, diet breaks, and refeeds. If you do not give yourself enough time to be able to take them, you will not only run out of the time to get in shape, but you will also sacrifice all the muscle that you've worked so hard to build, chasing the condition and chasing a high rate of loss because you don't have the time to back off. Now, that is a huge one. And I've seen this happen over and over with many guys just recently, is not taking that step back, not taking the foot off the gas in a contest prep. And that will inevitably cost them the muscle and the end product that comes to the stage. Point number 3, it actually works hand in hand, because I do think a lot of people train with too much volume in a contest prep. As you get into a calorie deficit, your training volume tolerance will decrease. Your pumps will also decrease. And this is where people often correlate a pump with a great session. A pump has nothing to do with it. When you do not have an abundance of calories, when you are in a calorie deficit, you will not get the same pump as you did in your off season, meaning that you should not be chasing a pump when training ever. You will feel flatter. In order to get through the stage lean, you will feel flat. Your sole goal and purpose is retaining training performance. Therefore, if there is any sets that you feel like you are not getting much from and you are seeing a drop off in training performance, these sets likely need to be removed and your training volume needs to come down. Another mistake people often make is addition of drop sets and set extensions in a contest prep. Now, when you are in a calorie deficit, again, your muscle's not loaded with glycogen. When your muscle isn't loaded with glycogen, it does not make sense to do sets that actually require a lot of fuel. It is the food that facilitates that sort of training volume and that sort of set extension added into your sessions. So as your priority, use appropriate training volume in order to hold your muscle mass. The training volume that you will need in order to hold the muscle tissue is likely going to be slightly less than the training volume you needed in order to grow. So your training volume likely may need to come down. As a great gauge for how well your prep is going, you should be retaining your training performance across the board. Where you will see a slight drop off in training performance is in some compound lifts that require more stability. As you lose body weight, especially with your pressing movements, you will see a dip in strength. However, that is pretty normal. That is just losing leverage and losing body weight. When you look at your training as a whole, this is where you should see your training performance uphold, and you shouldn't see a massive drop off in training performance at any point. If you are seeing your training performance start to take a big hit, you will expect to lose muscle tissue, whether you are assisted or not. So you have to protect your training performance through, one, having an appropriate timeline, taking enough time to be able to do diet breaks and deloads and refeeds, and then three, managing your training volume. Now, point number 4, why people often do not get in shape, is simply not pushing hard enough. Now, I've covered the bits around managing volume and doing less and fatigue management, but now let's move on to the main most important factor that will completely dictate whether you warrant a refeed or a diet break or a deload, and that is working hard enough in first place. If you are not working hard enough, you are not going to get results that you need. You are not going to hold a muscle that you need because you're not training hard enough. And you are not going to lose the body fat on getting true contest condition because you are not truly working hard enough. Nobody has ever turned up on stage out of shape due to working too hard. And I will repeat that again. Nobody has ever turned up on stage out of shape because they worked too hard. As long as you do not break yourself and injure yourself, and as long as you have a basic understanding of what it means to back off, you have to work hard enough. Nobody has ever not got a result through working too hard. Yes, they may actually hurt themselves, or they may get into a spot where they actually need a deload, but that's a good thing. You need to get there, and you need to earn the right to take a deload or a diet break, or earn the right to get a refeed. I often have people ask me about certain individuals that I work with, and I get this with a lot of clients, asking me about certain people. Why is so-and-so taking a deload every 5 weeks? Why is so-and-so taking a deload every 6 weeks and I don't need one every 10, and I don't need one every 10, 11 weeks? Because they train a lot harder, they train a lot heavier, they're a lot bigger. So you cannot compare yourself to other people. However, one thing you always have to remind yourself is that no matter how hard you work, there is always someone that is willing to work harder than you. Now, knowing that in back of your mind, you should always have that voice whispering in your ear. Remember, you are always capable of doing more, and you're always capable of working harder. And that is always a fact. Now, moving on to point number 5. And point number 5 can literally make you or break you both in your prep and off season, and that is health. If you are going into a contest prep with poor health, poor gut health, poor stress, poor life situation in general, poor blood work, or any health issues that you have not addressed prior to your prep, you will not bring your best to the stage, and I very, very highly doubt that you can actually make it to the stage if your health is not a priority. So you should always be going into a contest prep after completing an extensive health phase. That's exactly what I do myself, and that's exactly what I do with clients, meaning that every single time I go into prep, from a health perspective, I am super fresh, I'm super healthy. Both physically and mentally, I am fresh and I am so ready for the contest prep, meaning that my body responds instantly. I see so many people going into prep from a very unhealthy state, whether they're overweight and they haven't done a pre-prep diet or they haven't done a pre-prep health phase, and they expect a crazy result going into prep, and it just never ever happens. If your body is inflamed and stressed from pushing way, way too hard, if you are trying to then go into a prep and cause more stress through going into a calorie deficit and everything else that is required of you in order to get in true contest condition, your health will only get worse, not improve. However, in a lot of cases, and that is always in my case and my clients' cases, when you go into a prep after a health phase and after a pre-prep phase, often your blood markers and your health actually improves for the majority of your prep as you start losing body fat, as you get fitter, and as you actually improve some of your daily routine if that has been lacking. So remember guys, health is priority. Without a healthy start point, you will not achieve true contest condition and reach your ultimate best. Now, a big bonus point here guys, a big bonus point, and it's actually 2 points that I want to cover before we get wrapped up. You need to make sure that your personal circumstances are aligned with the goal of a contest prep. A contest prep is extremely selfish. If you are not in a good financial stable place, if your relationships are not in a great place, and your personal circumstances are not in a comfortable position, I would not ever even consider a contest prep, because going into a contest prep without having your personal circumstances in order is only going to make your situation worse, not better. Meaning that after prep, not only potentially you'll have the disappointment of not reaching your best because your personal circumstances affected your prep, but that can also lead to more problems in the future because your personal circumstances have actually gotten worse during that phase. A very, very important point I want to finish on. What is your why? You have to have an incredibly strong why behind competing and behind actually going into bodybuilding. If your why is not strong enough, you are going to have a hard time going for a contest prep and going for a real off-season. You need to have a genuine passion for this, and you need to genuinely enjoy the process. If you do not enjoy the process, you will struggle with a contest prep, because contest prep and a real off season are both extremely hard and extremely demanding, and they are going to require so much discipline from you. If your why is not strong enough, you are just not going to enjoy it. Now, if your why is strong and you're doing it for the right reasons, you will absolutely love the process. No matter how tired you get, no matter how bad you may feel, you will thrive in that environment and you will absolutely nail your prep. So guys, thank you so much for watching. 5 reasons why you may not be hitting your true contest condition and achieving your true potential, covered with some bonus points. If you have any comments below, ask any questions that you wish and I will answer them. Thank you so much for watching guys. Please subscribe to the channel. Peace out for now guys. I'll see you again soon. Take care for now.